Hello everyone and welcome back to another stream from Aman Talks NRL SuperCoach. Sorry, a bit rusty. Haven't said that for a while. How good. We're back. We are back indeed. Streaming, talking about NRL SuperCoach. Whew. It's been a minute. Hope you're all having a great little break off season. Apologies for taking some time away if you are watching. Thank you, because you're not watching the Big Bash, but hopefully you've got me on one screen. You've got the Big Bash on the other screen. But NRL Team Picker is out for SuperCoach 2025. Lots of things to discuss. We've got a flex position, new salary cap, extra player to be deciding. Games literally just opened. I will say now, coming in super fresh. Like, I have not looked at any NRL. I've barely looked at any footy stuff in the last few months. Like, I completely switched off. I also don't play SuperCoach Big Bash. I have nothing against it. It's more just I like to enjoy Big Bash just by watching it. It's a very high maintenance game. Like, you always need to be on every day. I kind of just want to sit back and relax and, prioritize SuperCoach and Fantasy Premier League, kind of the main fantasy game I've been following. But how good to see 29 people in the chat. I wasn't really expecting a huge number, just given that it's a bit of a random time. But, hopefully you're all winding down for the year, getting ready to enjoy your holidays and Christmas. We'll start saying hello. Benny G, you sexy SOP, let's go, and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Benny G, always one of my favorites. Davey K, super duper early Christmas present indeed. If you think I'm a Christmas present, then surely your partners can improve on that, because I'm not that good. But thank you, Davey K. Lovely to see you, Queenslander as well. Travis Hall, let's go, Amar. I've been looking forward to this. It's my abysmal finish last season. Yep, absolutely. This is the path for redemption. I'm on that path as well. I did okay last season, but I'd always want to be improving. Can't wait to see the immaculate trim, says Art. Yep, I did get a haircut last week. I thought this might be coming, so I had to look good for you all, because I know you've all been missing my haircut. Will I be dressed as Santa? No, unfortunately not. I'm very boring when it comes to my clothes. I can tell you now, if you ever wanted to buy me a present, it's Uniqlo. I'm not sponsored, but Uniqlo t-shirts. I'm in love with Uniqlo t-shirts. They're so comfortable. They're not that expensive, and I can wear them to the gym. I can sleep in them. I can wear them out and about. They're the best. I've got about 7, I think, of them, and I just rotate them in different colors. Rumor has it he went to Bali in the off season. No, I haven't gone to Bali. I have since season ended. I went to India for some wedding shopping. Did some shopping for my wedding, which is coming up in March. Which I will say now, content might be a little bit more fragmented in pre-season and the beginning, just because getting married at the beginning of March, which basically coincides with the start of the footy season. So I can't promise regular content as I have in the last previous seasons, but we'll do our best. But obviously, that's very exciting, of course, getting married and everything. Welcome back, Aman. First team picked, only 300 to go from Mark Lawless. Absolutely. I'm sure I'll be changing this team up bazillion times. It's really him. Yep, that is me. I am here. Hair looks beautiful. Look at the hair, so thick and lush. Yeah, the Minari. Getting to see the hair before Christmas truly is a Christmas miracle. Yeah, my first time watching from NRL Nick. Well, welcome. I guess this is officially the first content for 2025. How good. Josh Wilson, Ponga, and Turbo a lock. Yeah, look, I have not been thinking about, and I can very honestly say I have not been thinking about footy. I've very barely been keeping up with the news and stuff. I've kind of seen a little bit more in the last week or so, but realistically, coming into this very fresh. But I wanted to really switch off and because you spend so much time in the otherwise looking at it. But so I guess the aim of today is pretty laid back, not too serious. We'll kind of go through some of the key things that we've learned coming into today about the flex position, salary cap slightly different, and also then player prices, and we'll go through and build like an initial team. But I'm also aware that a lot of you out there don't have SuperCoach Team Picker available because you have to be a SuperCoach Gold member, so you can kind of pick the team vicariously through me. I haven't made that same spreadsheet I have last year yet. It's just been things have just been busier in general with life. Work's busy, and planning for a wedding. I'm sure many of you out there will empathize with me. It's not so easy just to be doing your own thing when you've got a wedding to plan. Lots and lots to do. And I'm doing the full shebang 5-day Indian celebration, which is great, but lots to plan. Lots to plan. Priorities of mine, SuperCoach over the wedding. Put it this way, if I prioritize SuperCoach over the wedding, they ain't going to be a wedding, because she will say, nah, that's it. So we gotta prioritize both, for sure. Very tempted by Luai. Congratulations. Thank you, Mark. Welcome back from Swift AU. Great to see you again as well. All right, where do you want to start off? I think probably the first thing before you even get into the whole thing around players is probably the flex position. That's the new biggest change coming into the season, and I think I am a fan of it. Supposedly it was in the AFL, and I think it's made its way into Big Bash Supercoach as well. Long and short of it is that you basically, previous seasons you pick 17 players, you pick starting 13 and then 4 reserves. Now, which is a total of 17, you now pick 18 players. So you include this flex position. This flex position can be any position, so they can come from fullback, wing center, 5'8", halfback, second row, hooker, front row. And basically you pick your best 18 for the week, and your best 17 scores will count. So this has been implemented to hopefully help with those really annoying situations where you have a player who just gets an HIA very early in the game, scores like 5 points, and it kind of just is a bit of a dampens and ruins your week. This is to kind of mitigate that situation. There are some more intricate stuff that we still need to probably fully get our heads around looping and things like that. There is one thing which I did pick up, and this is the SuperCoach NRL page. I've kind of already put out an Instagram post on this, so I do recommend obviously just going there and checking it out. But one thing that does happen is if you captain, let's say you pick your 18 players, if your captain is the player that drops out of your full 18. So I think to me, it reads like you still could get screwed over in situations where you captain a player and they get knocked out. First minute, they score 2 points. If that's the lowest score out of your total 18, that score drops out, and I don't think your vice captain then gets doubled. I think still the only situation where your VC gets doubled is if your captain doesn't play. So I still think you can have instances where you captain a player, scores 5 points, that's the lowest out of your 18, drops out, and you don't get any captain points then. So I think if I've read that correctly from what SuperCoach guys have posted, that's the case. So that's one thing that still is an element of variance and swing that I think will still exist in the game. More often than not, that's very unlikely. It's pretty unlikely that does generally happen. So hopefully you don't get in that situation. But from reading the Instagram post of SuperCoach NRL, that does seem to be the case. But you can still do VC loopholes and things like that. The initial thought of the flex position, and I think most people are probably going to say this, I reckon, in the preseason. Initial thought is fullback, like put another fullback in your flex position, because I've done a video last year which is probably still relevant in terms of looking back in other seasons, what positions score the highest. Fullback always generally comes out on top, same as halfback. Considering your other positions like second row, wing center, and front row, you've got more slots available for cover. I think when you've got only 2 spots for fullback, 5'8", and halfback and hooker, already in my brain was thinking, okay, that's the position you want to be trying to get an extra person to cover. And then also, fullback is just the highest scoring position, so ideally get a third one. I think that's probably going to be the way that most people will go. The trick is probably going to be, do people start with 3 full gun fullbacks, or you've got I can't pronounce his name, but the guy who's going to apologies, someone tell me in the chat how to pronounce, but the person who's going to be replacing Gutherson at fullback for Parramatta, is it Isaiah? I don't know if it's an L or an I. Is it Iongi or Longi? Apologies in advance. Him. He's, I think, cheaper, and I think he's only available at fullback. So, there's going to be a question of do you want to put in that cheapie who's taking up a valuable fullback slot, or do you want to be going with Turbo, Latrell, Ponga, Drinky, all those kind of high upside guys? So that will definitely be a big talking point, I think, in preseason. My wedding hurt my brain. Yeah, NRL Nick, I'm not surprised. I'm feeling sometimes the same. Mr. Callio, Ace Swizz, what's good? Yep, good to see a lot of regulars in the chat. It's really awesome to see. The One-Eyed Eagle, I know it's off topic, but do you have a quick thought on the manager pick in FPL? Yeah, that was another big thing that came out kind of last week. I think I'm a very engaged FPL manager. I listen to a lot of content around it. Ioni, I assume. Okay. But yeah, on that FPL thing, I think for engaged people who follow along with the content, I think it's going to be an advantage, because I think it's going to be easier than picking players. You pick the team who you expect to do well. And I think generally that's easier to do than, say, specific players. And so I think it's actually quite powerful. You actually have a lot of points to earn from it. So I'm not necessarily a fan of it. I think it's a little bit complicated, and I think it goes a little bit away from what FPL has always been. But I think if you're an engaged manager, I think you can use it to your advantage to, get some rank gains. Supercoach Experience, great to see you in the chat. Welcome back, Aman. How good is this time of year. Yeah, this is the best time of year. Not that you guys are probably interested, but yeah, I'm a December baby, so I love having my birthday around summertime. Everyone's happy. It's the holidays. The weather's good. Go out for beers in the sun. Can't beat it. But yeah, and I did turn 30 actually just last week. So reality check. I'm like, oh my god, I've got a 3 in front of my age. I know there's probably some of you out there who think, why is he complaining? He's still young. But for someone who just left their 20s and turned 30, yeah, feels like a big deal anyway. High ceiling player in flex, like a Dom Young, yep, potentially. Wade Spear, hey man, keen for a new season. Didn't realize I didn't subscribe all last year. Apologies, and that's changed now. Oh, thank you, Wade, my man. No apologies at all. But yeah, of course, if there is anyone in the chat who is a new first-time viewer, yeah, please just subscribe. There will continue to be content next year as well. Weather isn't good here in Brisbane. Yeah, obviously we'll quickly touch on the cricket. Yeah, a bit disappointing that the match ended in a draw. I think this has been a decent series so far, and have so much of the test washed out with rain is just not ideal. I saw Batuta put an article out saying, is it really the Sunshine State? Yeah. I've had some colleagues who are up in Brisbane and they're like, yeah, it's just raining. It's like muggy and humid and it's not ideal. Sydney has been really hot the last few days. Today is actually one of the cooler days for at least a week and a half. All right. Shall we get into some team picking? It's been 12 minutes of me waffling. How about we start picking our team? Spank the Monkey. Great name. What up, Aman? Good to see you, brother. Yep. King of Supercoach is back. Happy Christmas, man. Thank you, James Rhodes. That's very, very kind of you. King of Supercoach. Oh, you're way too kind. You're flatter me way too much. I think my partner always thinks like, what do you do to make these people so like love you so much? I'm just like, mate, it's all in the haircut. That's where it is, love. Alrighty, let's go to pick our team. So, I mean, in terms of, do we want to start at hooker? Nah, that's boring. Let's start at fullback. Fullback's the fun spot. Let's start at fullback. This is where everyone gets excited, isn't it? So, Teddy, 920k. I believe he is the highest priced player to begin Supercoach 2025. Personally, I'm probably, my early thought was probably not to go with Teddy. So maybe actually just quickly before going on players, hopefully you guys can see this, but I've just switched over to just looking at the first 6 rounds draw. I put this chart together a couple of days ago and put it out on Instagram yesterday. And this is sorted by difficulty just based on Supercoach points conceded from last year, just over the first 6 rounds. We can also look at shorter windows of like the first 4. We can look at the first 8. I'm always someone who does like looking at the draw and stuff, but one thing I've probably learned a little bit more over just playing Supercoach for more years now. At the beginning of the season, I think the draw is just not as important as it probably is later in the season, just because everyone at the beginning is not really as free-flowing or clicking as they are at later points in the year. So generally, the scoring, I think, is just lower in general. So it's not necessarily that I look at someone who I've considered to be a team with a really good draw and say, oh, I have to lump in on that team. I'm probably more just looking at, okay, ideally, I want to avoid those really, really difficult teams. Like if I can avoid Penrith, the Roosters, Melbourne, and maybe say the Sharks, and maybe say the Bulldogs as well, if we go off their good defensive numbers from last year. Those 4 or 5 teams, ideally, if I can just avoid them as much as possible, I'm probably going to be happy with the players I pick. And also buys, of course. We need to account for that. We don't want to have players who are just going to be running into buys, very early in the year. So that's kind of how I'm looking at the draw side of things. So not necessarily going, I have to go based on green color. And this green coloration and stuff is just my own spin on things. But the rankings themselves is based just purely on Supercoach points conceded from last year. But mainly I'm just trying to avoid the Penriths, the Roosters, the Sharks, things like that. And if one of them creep in the first 6 weeks, but if I think the other games are fine, I'll still hopefully just be able to consider that play. If they've got like 2 or 3 of those guys in a row, then yeah, obviously I'm going to be more likely trying to avoid a player from those particular teams. So that's just the first 6 weeks. So things that jump out, like you got the Tigers, Dolphins, Knights, Bulldogs, Roosters, Dragons, Parramatta as kind of the first 6 to 7. West Tigers is very intriguing because they've got a pretty soft run. There's a lot of value picks, I suspect, from the Tigers. I haven't really looked, but there's so much change in their squad. I would think that there's a lot of value picks. Dolphins, I know guys like Max Plath, I've seen a little bit on socials of piquing some interest. Knights, if people are considering Ponga, they do have some pretty decent first 3, Tigers, Dolphins, Titans, but they do then have the bye in round 4. So you might have to consider that as well. I like Bulldogs opening start before a bye in round 6. Like, it's only the Sharks once. But otherwise, we're talking Dragons, who've, again, had a complete overhaul in squad. Titans, Parramatta, Knights. Someone like a Karaz, jumps out if you are looking at a more higher price centre wing. He could just be a good set and forget. You don't have the first bye until week 6, and hopefully you might be able to cover him at that point. And with the flex position, you're probably going to be able to cover your buys a little bit easier. That's the first 6 weeks. So I have updated the 2025 spreadsheet draw-wise. I haven't done the whole team planner that I did from last year. If I look at the first 4, so let's just say really, really short term, if you really want to attack the first 4 weeks, which I think is fine as well, because remember, prices won't start changing until after round 3. Dolphins are up there, Tigers, Bulldogs, Manly are up there in the first 4. So people looking at the likes of Turbo, like they've got one good thing with Manly, a lot of home games. So home against Cowboys, Canberra, Parramatta in the first 4. Melbourne, but that's also a home game. And then it's Sharks, Dragons, Penrith, and then a bye. So the first 4 for Turbo look pretty good. We know Turbo is just obviously like an absolute Supercoach gun. So someone like Turbo automatically sticks out as, maybe captain material in like round 1 or maybe in round 3, 4. I look at Parramatta, they've had a lot of change. They're still probably going to be defensively a little bit suspect, I suspect, at least at the beginning of the year. What team do I support? I'm a Roosters fan. Apologies, I know everyone's going to probably hate me for saying that, but yeah, I'm a Roosters fan, sorry. I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit, actually, just so I realize people might be struggling to see that. So that's over the first 4 weeks, and if you're looking longer term, so say the first 8 weeks, I'm just going to quickly filter for that. And I will try to make the spreadsheet available for people as well before the preseason if people want to fiddle around. Last year I set up some kind of coffee donation. I might just do similar as well. But interestingly, like one team that stays at the bottom is the Rabbitohs. They've stayed at the bottom for like the first 4, 6, and 8 view. I know a lot of people are looking at Latrell. You've obviously got Wayne Bennett back, so that's going to change things a lot. And one thing with Latrell is that he's goal kicking and he what's it want to say? He's generally pretty matchup proof. Like he can, rise up against those tough opposition. But the draw on paper still does look a little bit tough. Titans having a bye in round 1, then they've got a few tougher games in there as well. So just thought I'd have a quick look at the draw, just so we've got a bit of a reference point. Happy birthday, ASC, you're starting the new season, a new hairstyle. Many thanks, Nicholas. To be fair, my hairstyle's not that different. I don't really see it changing much from what you guys saw for all of the 2024 season. I like Turbo and Ponga. I think you did the same last year. Yep, Turbo and Ponga is what I started with last year. They could, looking at that draw, they could very easily be there. Let's see. All right, fullbacks. I think, look when the draw first came out and I'd put that spreadsheet together, Tom was someone who originally did come straight into my head. So I think I'm going to put him in there just as a place, like just for now. He's 876k. People paid 1.2 million for Turbo, whatever he was that season after that ridiculous 2021 year. 875k, it's not cheap. To be honest, actually just looking at some of these fullback prices, I think the top guys are probably priced at what you expect, like obviously Teddy being very expensive. He had a great year last year. Latrell, he had minimal games. He only played 11 last year, but in that time he was really good. He's 866k. Dylan Edwards is a bit of an interesting one. He benefited a lot from Cleary being out and goal kicking. I think Cleary's, if he's good to go for round 1, I probably don't see many people going Edwards. The ones that look interesting, Latrell, Ponga, obviously with a really good first 3 before that bye in round 4, goal kicking for the Knights. Scott Drinkwater, now that Val Holmes has moved to the Dragons, I think Drinkwater's going to be the one who's going to be goal kicking. If I look at the draw, they're kind of middle of the pack. So, Manly, Sharks, Broncos, Canberra, first 4 is fine. Penrith is in round 5, then it's Rabbitohs away in round 6. So it's a bit of a mixed bag of games. It's not necessarily anything like amazing. Like they don't have what you'd consider as like those really great games against, say, the West Tigers. Apologies, Tigers fans, but going to have to, for now, we'll see what happens. But with Luai at the helm, well, for now we have to assume that they're still going to be a team to target. No team like that, I guess, in the opening 6. But, Drinkwater is a proven Supercoach gun, and goal kicking is a big, big plus for anyone in Supercoach. Reece Walsh, for example, like 738k, that's pretty cheap. He did average 75 last year, only played the 14 games, but, Madge Maguire at the helm. The Broncos, again, bit of a mixed bag of games, like Roosters opening week, but then it's Canberra, Cowboys, Dolphins, Tigers. I actually think that run of 4 in between there is not that bad. I think there are some definite decent games in there. And then they play the Roosters again in round 6. So I actually don't mind even like Reece Walsh. Like if you're really struggling for money, he's someone who's like I guess a discount to say like a Ponga. He's what is he? Oh, he's about 50k cheaper. It's like 130k cheaper than Latrell. It could be an interesting option to start off with. At the moment, I'm just going to stick in Ponga just because he's a bit more reliable, tried and tested goal kicking. Those first 3 were really good for the Knights. Does have that buy in round 4, but with the flex position, you can, cover the fullback position probably a little bit better. Or just looking at this now, you could even make a sideways switch to Teddy if you wanted in round 4, because Teddy's got Broncos Penrith opening, but then he goes Titans, Rabbitohs, Broncos again. It could be a bit better, but anyway, we don't need to go into all of those tactics. Let's stick in Ponga for now. And on the flex position, I think I will at the moment, because cash gen is really important at the beginning of the year. So I think that the cheapie from Parramatta, I think I'll probably go with him. Let's see, where is he? I realized, okay, flex is going to be hard to look. Let's go low to high. That might be easier because I think he's in the 200s. Have a look. And yeah, if you want my thoughts on like cheapies and stuff, honestly, I don't probably have a great read of things at the moment, so apologies. Just going to be filling in the gaps, but we're just going to have a bit of a fun here. Play around with a bit of a squad structure. All right, there he is. Isaiah Iongi. All right, we'll keep him there as a flex position at the moment. I don't want to commit to having 3 guns and then being like, oh, okay, I can't actually build a team that I like. So let's start with that for now. And if we've got money to play with later, then of course we can fill it out. And I think the way I'm going to jump around, I'm probably just going to go by the positions I'd prioritize trying to get in the people that I like. So let's leave the fullbacks as is for now. Let's go to halfback, because halfback's a pretty big position. So Cleary is the most expensive halfback at the moment, 811k, not really surprising. It's not a bad price, to be honest, with Cleary. There have been seasons where I think we paid like much, much more for him, like 900 plus. So I think he'll be someone who is a wait and see in terms of picking based on how he comes back from round 1. The opening is tough, like Sharks, Roosters and Melbourne, but it's Penrith. That's the only thing. The first 2 games are at home at least. And then it opens up a little bit with the Rabbitohs, Cowboys, and then the Dolphins. Cleary, if he's fit round 1, could just be someone that you just stick into your team. Sharks look slightly better. They do have Penrith round 1, but that is, I believe they play in Vegas actually, Penrith and the Sharks. So one thing we saw from Vegas games last year, actually, they were fairly high scoring. So, you could look at those round 1 games in Vegas. You know what? I'm gonna check this. Sorry, live checking here. Rugby League in Las Vegas 2025. Who we got? Yeah, we got Raiders, Warriors. Yeah, okay, Penrith, Panthers, Sharks. And yeah, that's it from the NRL side of things. So Raiders, Warriors, Panthers, Sharks. Okay. That's good to know, because then, if I look at Nico Hines, just what was his price? 735k. I know he had a bit of a decline last year, but I mean, 735k, again, that's a pretty good price. Guys like Sam Walker, he's injured at the moment. Moses is not a bad price, 629k. I believe Parramatta have got a pretty decent start. It's not the worst. I mean, they do have Melbourne and Bulldogs, but they do have Tigers, Manly, Dragons, and then the Raiders. I think Moses, it depends on who gets goal kicking, because we know that Zach Lomax has moved to Parramatta. If Moses keeps goal kicking, he could be an option. But I think otherwise, people are going to look at the likes of Cleary and Hines. I mean, Jerome Hughes obviously was amazing last year. He does like 805k for Jerome Hughes, when I think in seasons gone past, he's kind of always been in that maybe mid 600s, pushing up to 700. 805k coming off a career year does feel like you are paying absolute max. Probably isn't value. Just looking at Melbourne's schedule, it's Parramatta round 1, but then it's the bye round 2, and then Penrith. I think the fact that they've got that bye round 2 and then rolling into Penrith, when prices his price will change for round 4. Yeah, 805k doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like someone I'll be probably leaning towards. In terms of the cheapie side of things, we'll just have a scroll down here as well. I'm seeing a few 5'8", but I think 5'8", I suspect, is going to be a bit of a dud position, so we might have to look at that cheaper. Who we've got here? We've got Sandon Smith, 238k. He probably will get game time, at least at the beginning with Sam Walker out. So he's probably going to be an option. He's halfback hooker. So he could be maybe one of your cheap hookers to start. I think hooker will be, based on what we saw last year, was a very low upside position. I can see a lot of people maybe not spending much money at hooker. At the moment, I'm going to try for now, I'm going to put Cleary and Hines, because I do like Hines' price. I know he had a bit of a dip last year, but it's good. It's a good price. So let's just stick with that for now, and we'll build around it and see what we can do. But let's leave those two in for now. Do I want to go to centers? Now, we spoke about hookers just then, so let's see what we can do there. Let's see just any... what's your view on expensive players in new teams like Val Holmes? Typically wait and see instead of starting. Yeah, so Val Holmes obviously is a good point. What is this? Let's just quickly jump over here. 785k, moving to the Dragons. I suspect he'll retain goal, or he'll get goal kicking. Yeah, Dragons... It's not bad. I mean, Bulldogs and then Souths and then a bye, then Melbourne. Yeah, that feels like it's tough enough to begin with the bye that, particularly someone like Val Holmes, I probably would lean to say staying away from. And yeah, I think with these really premium guys changing to teams, unless you get a really clear view of how their role is going to look or how the team looks based on preseason, yeah, I think maybe waiting and watching is not always a bad option. I'm probably a bit more of a conservative type of player who tries to take things a bit slower, probably to my detriment at times. But in general, yeah, I'd probably say if the team is massively, like Dragons have had a massive change as well, so it might take time for them to click. So someone like Val Holmes, who needs the team to be scoring points to benefit because he's the goal kicker, yeah, I'd maybe lean towards saying like no to him. And maybe similar with the Lomax, particularly Lomax at 774k. If he lost the goal kicking to Moses, that's a big drop to his points potential. So yeah, he'd be someone who, again, you'd probably think maybe at the start you wouldn't go with. Karaz at 702k is expensive, but they did have a pretty good schedule from memory. Yeah, no buy into round 6 and no Melbourne or Penrith or the Roosters, only the Sharks away in round 4. But someone like that is a base stat beast. Wouldn't mind someone like Karaz actually to start the year. I think, if I'm trying to remember back to last year, I think a lot of us struggled because we started really cheap in centres, and I don't think that really worked out for us that well. So I think trying to get someone in a little bit more expensive, who's a little bit more reliable, someone like Karaz who's got those good base stats, he could be a decent shout. So, I mean, centre's always an interesting position. There's so many options that you can go to. I'm gonna stick in Karaz just for now. I know I was supposed to talk about hookers, but we talked about Val Holmes, so let's stick in Karaz for now. I'm putting in all the big guns, and let's see if we can fit around it. I think hooker, I will probably try to be a bit cheaper this year. I think Harry Grant, with Melbourne having that early buy, probably won't look to him. Neither Damien Cook or Little, just with that rotation. How's that going to work? Max Plath, I think 618k is not expensive. It's fine. I think what appeals with him is the dual status though, second row forward and hooker. I mean, he's not that much different in price from Harry Grant. There's only about 70k in it, just looking at it. So I think if you're going to spend, if you're putting Max Plath at hooker, personally, I'd probably say just maybe look to spend the 70k and put it in Harry Grant instead. Because at least with Harry Grant, he is going to generally be the highest averaging dummy half for Supercoach, and you can kind of more reliably lock him in. I think for Plath, I have a feeling if I want him, I'll probably put him in at second row instead. But is Connor Watson? Yeah, okay. Connor Watson is also a dual second row forward hooker. Okay, that could be interesting. If you've got the money, you could put both of them, one of them in second row, one of them at hooker. Connor Watson was really good last year. I think when he was playing good minutes, he was averaging like over 70. His 2024 season average was 59.6. Sub 600k is not a bad price. So I don't even mind Connor Watson, to be honest, as a shout. But, I mean, Jeremy Marshall-King also quite cheap, 555k. Like, he was preseason last year. He was the one that I keep saying last year, preseason early this year. He was the one that people were looking at as the option versus Harry Grant. So that's a really, really interesting price. I believe, just from memory, the Dolphins don't have a buy until round 13. So Dolphins, I think this was the case with them last season as well. The fact that they don't have a buy until round 13 makes them really good holds, and they only play Penrith in round 6, then it gets a bit tougher from round 6 to 9. But not having the buy until round 13 is very handy. I can see why a lot of people will stick in like a Max Plath and just say, I don't need to worry about him. If he's getting decent minutes, then I don't have to worry about him until that round 13 bye week. Just seeing who else has buys pretty delayed. Canberra, another one. Canberra, I'll make sure I get this right. Canberra don't have a buy until round 15. So they could have some interesting players potentially. The Tigers don't have a buy until round 12. And a pretty good opening start. So West Tigers could also be a team that people look to if they're not having to worry about buys and things like that. Rabbitohs don't also have a buy until round 12. Is that correct? I'm gonna double check the spreadsheet, guys. I did do this very quickly. I have a feeling. Yeah, you know what? I think I've got some of these numbers wrong because I think this looks like round 13 buys. Let me have a look here. Yeah, okay. I may have got some dates wrong. Anyway, let's not look at that then because that could be wrong. But anyway, this is what happens when you do last minute streams and you're not fully prepped, but we'll get it all fixed up before the real crunch time. So with dummy halves, I think Sanders Smith does present an option. The one that people will look to is Peter Mamazelis from the Rabbitohs. Like now with Damien Cook going, 302k, likely to take that starting spot. I think we'll probably just plug him in. I don't know if I want to go double cheap hooker with Sanders Smith as well. Now that I've got... let's just do that for now. I do like the look of Connor Watson though. Maybe Connor Watson I put in at... I don't know. You know what? Let's take out Cleary for now. Nah, you know what? Putting Cleary back. Sorry. Just This is what happened. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to be tinkering. Anyway, let's keep Sanders Smith in there for now. So let's say we'll go really cheap at hooker because it's a bit of a low upside position. 5'8". So from people, talking to a couple of people, they're like, yeah, 5'8" is a bit meh. It's a bit, just meh, basically. And it was that all of last season. Like Jaden Campbell being the most expensive at 700k, like that. With a buy round one, it just feels way too expensive, I think, to be paying. I had him for last year when he had a good run and he was good to me. But yeah, I don't think he's really the option I'd be looking at. Lockie Galvin was great last year, but he's now priced at what he scored, so he's not really offering value. Although that draw was good. Jerome Luai's coming in cheaper though, and he's dual. So I can't see anyone picking Lockie Galvin when you've got Luai for cheaper with dual. And we saw Luai without Cleary last year. He actually was averaging quite well, like 70s plus. I can see Luai being a very popular pick because, Tamara Martin had periods where he was good last year, but maybe it's oversight, not really strongly looking at him. Without Sean Johnson now, I guess Luke Metcalf would be the guy that people are looking at. So Harold TB09 saying, I like Munster and Metcalf at 5'8". So what's Metcalf's price? He's 443k. Okay, so he's pretty cheap. So he could be one of those mid-range value guys. So don't hate that. What's the Warriors draw like? It's not the best. They've got the buy in round 5, but he's 443k. One thing with him, he seems to be more of that running style of 5'8". So he could be one of those guys who, despite even tough opposition, still gets points through like just base power stuff. So he's actually interesting. I guess Munster is an option as well. That's probably the cheapest you've seen Munster for a long time, 609k. I guess he's just coming off that hip injury, and I think he had off-season surgery. With that bye round 2, then Penrith round 3, I think Munster's probably not going to be, at least for now, not probably going to be it. Dillbags, Matt Burton Burton could be an option. He just feels a little bit expensive. Luai's price is tempting, and if it is the case that they don't have a buy until say round 12, round 13, you could take a punt on Luai at that price, and the dual is pretty handy, so I'll stick in Luai for now. In terms of cheapies at 5'8", again, I'm not probably too across. Will Price maybe if he gets a starting gig. Otherwise, you don't really have many cheap options. Happy to be corrected here though. If you guys think there are some cheapies that could be an option. Maybe Harris Tavita. Let's just stick in Luke Metcalf now. He's the cheapest one that I think actually will play. So yeah, I can see why people think 5'8's a bit meh. All right, we still got all of center, all of second row and front row, and I think I've used about half my cap. This is what happens when you load up with the gun halfbacks and fullbacks. So Jay is saying Tino's price is outrageously low. Okay, let's have a look here. Let's go front row. Tino, where are you? 531k. Whew. He does have the buy around 1. I mean, that looks very tempting. Like, second row forward, he's kept the dual, which is really useful. Just 530k for someone we know is like historically a 70 averaging prop. Yeah, let's stick him in. I know he's coming off an ACL, but that was a long time. I'd hope he's just a beast though. Like, I know NRL Physio always says this about Pat Carrigan. He had that ACL, and he had this season after where he was like, this is the best I've ever seen a player coming back from an ACL. Tino kind of feels like that type of player. He's just an absolute beast. That ACL, he could come back and just kill it. That price with a dual seems very tempting. Now, normally front row, I don't like spending that much money, but I got burnt last year hard with that. And I'm looking at Terrell May here. I'm getting too many West Tigers in my team, aren't I? But Terrell May now at the Tigers, he's sub 600k. He's generally probably one of the only front rows that we can pick who has genuine upside. Like, he was scoring over hundreds at points last year with the Roosters. I've seen some of his quotes and stuff, like how he's motivated, whatnot, since moving to the Tigers. Yeah, let's just stick him in for now. I could even put Tino at second row now that I think about it, but let's just leave him there for the time being. Just going back to 5'8 real quick. People are mentioning Blaze Talangi, so let me just go back to 5'8 real quick. What's Blaze's price? Okay, because I did generally forget about him. Okay, so he's got centre wing 5'8, so handy dual. Now obviously at Penrith, probably likely to take the 5'8 spot. 563k. That does feel a little bit pricey. Like, me personally, now that I'm actually looking at this a little bit harder, Tom Dearden's still within the 500s. Jerome Luai is only 20k more expensive than Talangi, and he's got dual as well, and he's leading that West Tigers team with a decent draw. Penrith did have fairly tough games to be. They're okay, and look, it is Penrith, but I think Talangi at 5'8, how will he go integrating into Penrith when it's Cleary's the one who runs the show, whereas at Parramatta, at fullback when he was killing it, he probably had a bit more scope to do well and to kind of run that team, I guess. Cody Walker's at a very similar price to Blaze Talangi. He's dual, he's 560k. Draw looks on paper tough for the Rabbitohs, but Wayne Bennett is coming back, so Cody Walker could also be a gun. Like, honestly, looking at some of those prices, I'd probably punt on like Cody Walker over Talangi, or I'd probably punt on Jerome Luai. I don't mind Talangi as an option. Like, he was good last year, but it's just the price. Price feels a little bit, considering he was like bottom dollar last year. I think, personally, I probably won't look to him, I think, at the start. And then, I had Metcalf in there before. Adam Dwyer, he may be, but I think we need him playing in the halves to be Supercoach relevant. So I'll stick Metcalf back in there for now, just because he's a little bit cheaper, and I suspect he'll be starting. So what are people saying about the team so far? Harold saying, I'm definitely stashing Tino in for second row forward for round 1. Joey says, up the Terrell May. Jay says, May with good minutes, consistent minutes is a gun. May will get more minutes at the Tigers. He's a buy for me. Yeah, I think, a lot of consensus that Terrell May is a good option. So I think we'll be sticking with him for the time being. Where do I want to go? 5 mil. Let's go to second row for the time being, just because, I'm trying to fill out the starting spots. We'll put in the bench spots a bit later once I've got a bit more clarity around how much money I've got to spend. Second row obviously was a big position last year. Like, I think at one point I had 5 or 6 like gun second row forwards. I had Crichton, Fafita, Katoa, Britannica, Olukwatu, and they're all pretty expensive. Like, Zayo was probably the surprise one of last year, who was just ultra consistent. 760k for Angus, he's the most expensive. Yeah, I wonder, last year the strategy that everyone took was, or a lot of people took, was putting those mid-ranges, like those 400k type second row forwards in the team. So I'm just going to quickly scroll through. IPAT back at Penrith could be very interesting for sure. I don't know why, but I'm looking at Connor Watson like, you just look like someone who I think will be good, and you've got dual. I'm going to stick Connor Watson in. I'm just going to stick IPAP in as well. If he gets an 80-minute role, he could be pretty decent, but let's just stick them in for the time being. Nat Butcher, Toe Harris, a lot of names that Josh Curran was a bit of an option last year, but probably not quite value. He's probably priced at what he will offer you. Victor Raleigh, Sean Bloor, we've already put Tino in. Kai Paul, my God, I haven't thought about this name since looking at it again. John Bateman now at the Cowboys. Some of the Fainu, my God. Okay, there's a lot of options. Lukey, I know sometimes people like him if he's got good minutes. Oh, actually, a name springs to mind. Finifuyaki, because he's now moved to the Dolphins and he's cheap. Yeah, he's 368k. There we go. I'll put him in for the time being because I think he was a bit of a cheapy option last year, but he wasn't fully getting the minutes at the Cowboys. I think if he moves to the Dolphins and gets minutes, then he could be an option. So I'll stick him in for the time being. What is Cam Murray priced at? 610k. Okay. Can you guys remind me in the chat, please? When did Wayne Bennett last coach the Rabbitohs? Sorry, you guys are seeing a live look into Wikipedia and whatnot. Okay. 2019 to 2021. Okay. How did Cam Murray fare in those years? I'm very interested because Cam Murray, 600k is not a bad price. 70 in 2021. Oh, by the way, guys, this is NRL SuperCoach Stats. If you're new to SuperCoach or new to the channel, this is the best resource I can recommend for sure for SuperCoach. Yeah, okay, so the 3 seasons with Bennett, 69, 68, and 70 averages. And he's priced at an average of low 60s. So Murray is not bad. You know what? I'm going to take out iPad. I'm just going to put in Cam Murray for the time being. I love the bloke. It's a little bit more expensive, but if I'm thinking of guys who I think can offer value, he might fit the mold. Oh, is he injured? Caleb, Cam Murray out to mid-season. Yeah, have I just showed my ignorance? Here we go. Surgery for wrist injury. Okay, how long is he out for? That's probably the question. There we go. Rabbitohs, where are ya? Rabbitohs. Campbell Graham. Okay, we definitely need to talk about him. Oh, okay, this is showing last year. Anyway, all right. If he is out mid-season, I'll take him out. I'll put iPad back in, but Cam Murray is someone who I'd be tempted by for sure. I like for Katoa for SuperCoach. He's very consistent. Yeah, Katoa was very, very good last year. Opening draw, not draw necessarily. It's probably more just having that buy early on. Could just be a little bit meh. If there's a position that's low scoring, you could just buy a cheapie in that position and use the cash for flex. Yeah, agree. At the moment, I've got in Isaiah Iongi from Parramatta in the flex spot because he's fullback only, but he looks like he'll be a decent cheapie to start off with, given that he's going to be taking that starting spot, we think. People are saying horse. No stretch is saying horse. Corey Horsburgh. What's happening with him? 355k. Whew, okay. Look, as I said, I've not been keeping up with the news, so I have no idea where his status is at in terms of being back in that Raiders team, but good price. Dual is very tempting. All right, how much money? We've got 3.4 million. I'm going to start filling out some of my other center wings, and then we'll work on the bench. I have a feeling I'm going to have to take out a few of my gun players, guys, because I think I'm stretching the budget a little bit too much. I've already put in Karaz as like a gun center wing. I don't think I can probably stretch to another. Someone in the chat was saying Greg Marzu earlier. I think with Marzu, I think I need to see it again before I go back there. I know he was good to us the year before last, but last year was a little bit he's a bit disappointing. So I think for Greg, I think I need to see it before I buy into it again. I mean, there's a lot of options in center wing as always, so it's very hard to figure out like where do you go. I have a feeling based on my salary cap that I've got left. What have I got? I've only got 3.4 mil. I'm probably gonna have to go cheap for the rest of my center spots. So I think I'm probably gonna have to look sub 450k maybe. Yeah, so Marzu's 513k. That's not a bad price. Yep. Campbell Graham. he's such a gun. He's such a gun when he's fit. He's just very tempting. I'll put him in a square bracket him. I won't put him in for now. Xavier Coates, not for me. Talakai, he's burnt me too much. Okay, Mark. Okay, I have no idea how to pronounce this. Mark Nwanganitawasi. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too much, but it's a very long surname. Yeah, so one talking point, I guess, with the Roosters is that they've obviously lost a few outside backs. So Suli's gone, Joey Manu's gone. So those are two big players that they're going to have to fill. So I think there's going to be a lot of look at the Roosters backlines. So, he's been mentioned. Someone in the chat saying Robert Toya. I think I've read that name in the preseason as well. Might be in line to make his debut this year for the Roosters. What is he priced at? Oh, he's 198k, so he's bottom dollar. So I think we're going to have to stick one of those guys in eventually. So I think I may as well put him in. Zach Labert, someone saying in the chat, yeah, not bad because he had, I think, that ACL injury. He started the season really hot. I think he had the first game, I want to say he scored like 98 points. And then he got the injury. Let's see how good my memory is. Did he score 98? 103. Yeah, 103. Then he dropped off. Then he copped the injury. With Val Holmes leaving, there's obviously going to be a centre wing spot up for grabs in the Cowboys. So, Labert could actually be a decent shout. If I filter for the Cowboys, yeah, you got him for 389k. You got Robert Derby, I remember was a name from last year. He's 214k. So yeah, there could potentially be options as well. Isaac Brown says, oh my God, I'm watching Oman in December is like a fever dream. Thank you, Isaac. Appreciate that. Yeah, a bit of a surprise stream for you all. Daddy Aman, Cam Smith, welcome to you, the GOAT. Daddy Aman, I'm quite keen on Alex Johnson this year. Am I dumb? He's cheap. Is he cheap? Well, how much is he priced at? 433k. He just wasn't getting the ball that he was last year that we've seen in previous years. So I think, what's his name? Ty Munro. He's a little bit cheaper. 398k. Could you just go him instead? A little bit cheaper. Josh Wilson is saying actually Munro from Souths. Actually he could be. Let's just stick him in for now. I'm being guided by you a lot here, everyone, because I have not done my research clearly. Aussie Play says 2 centre wing / second row forward options. Love to see some duels. Burbo. Oh, of course. How could we forget about Burbo? He's 420k. Can we go there again? I think last year he was like sub 300k to start off with. What was he? What was all Burbo last year? Yeah, he was 277k. He peaked at 512, and then that was it. I might pass on him. It feels a bit like mid-range of danger. Jack Bird, people are saying in the chat, 379k. Yeah, move to the Tigers. Actually, yeah. Where is he? Is he going to play back row? Because is he going to take Isaiah Papali'i's spot? I haven't been keeping. The West Tigers have recruited so many players, it's been hard to keep up. Jack Bird with the duel. Yeah, look, let's just stick him in because this is the kind of the price range of centers that I need to be filling in if I need to be able to meet my budget. Don't mind Casey McLean. 440k does feel a little bit awkward. Lock for Bird, 13. Ooh, okay. If he's playing 13, even if he doesn't play, if he plays like 50, 60 minutes, but if we can pick him in center wing, that's not bad. 380k. Yeah, don't mind that. Oh, I can't believe I was mouthing off the Tigers as an easy team to target in the beginning of the stream, and now I've got Jack Bird, I've got Luai, I've got Terrell May. Could be more to come. Who knows? Swings and roundabouts. Life comes back at you fast. You slag them off, and then all of a sudden you're filling your team with players from the Tigers. All right, let's see. So I'm scrolling really fast. Obviously, it's impossible to talk about all of these players. Jack Howarth, yeah. What's Howarth at? 426k. Maybe. I don't know why. I feel like if they've got a 3 in front of their price, I'm much more tempted. Let's see. Like Labert is 389k. Maybe him. Sean Russell. Jesse Arthurs. Don't hate him. Revamped Broncos team. Maybe Arthurs is a shout. I actually don't hate that, to be honest. Isaiah Tass, no. Billy Smith, is he going to be someone who gets a spot? I mean, poor Billy Smith. I know we all started with him not last year, but the year before. And poor bloke just... He put together a couple of games, but he was a very frustrating owner, I'll put it that way. So I don't know if I'll go straight back to Billy Smith. There's not really too many other names that I can see here. Let's just stick in like Labour. Like there'll be someone from the Cowboys who's a mid-ranger who maybe we'll consider. So I'm just going to stick him in for the time being. Billy Smith, Mark, and Toy are fighting for 2 spots. Yeah, so we'll probably pick at least one, if not 2, of those 3. I think Tom, Rakik, love your man. Thank you so much. Appreciate that a lot, guys. As well, if you love me, also if you've been loving the stream, do please give it a like as well. Obviously, now that we're going to be commencing a new season of content, there'll be a whole bunch of new people watching. So, do put the word out there. If you like the stream, you comment, all that good stuff. It does help get it out there to the masses. What are we on? I think the goal will be 5,000 subs, I guess, which is awesome to think about. But that'll be the goal, I guess, for next season. Carter Gordon, from the Titans, moved across from Union. He's 336k. I mean, we could also stick him in. I just don't know what his role is going to be, but anyway, we're just trying to fill it in with players who at prices who I think I'll be putting in there. All right, so we've got 6 spots and 1.7 million to play with. So that works out to be, it's about 286k left a spot. So I think, second row is probably going to be a bit tight. Front row, we might be able to get away with it. But I think we might be able to build an okay team with that kind of budget left. And remember, I have stacked some positions. Like I've put in expensive halves and things like that. Hooker is a little bit cheap though. I guess there's a bit of a risk there. All right. Let's go cheap front rowers. I'm scrolling from the bottom. Let's just make our way up. Is there any names that ring a bell? Benjamin Takura, I know he played a few games. Liam LeBlanc, Matt LeBlanc's long lost brother, I know played a few games last season. That's not true, guys, by the way. Royce Hunt, oh my goodness. Oh, hello. Royce Hunt, 249k. I forgot that he was moving to the Tigers. Oh, here we go. God, of course there's another Tigers player. Of course it's going to happen. Slagged him off. And there's another one. And another one, as DJ Khaled would say. 249k. I mean, Royce Hunt historically has been someone who's been very tempting, but just never quite delivered to what we wanted. But he's always been someone who, PPM-wise, amazing. Amazing PPM. Like last year's PPM, 1.07. I'm pretty sure the year before was like 1.35 or something. I mean, at the price, can you really go wrong at the price? Like, surely not. Let's just stick him in. Stick in Royce Hunt. Let's go. Royce the choice. Thomas McKaylee, 2024 preseason darling, but then never made it in, unfortunately. Okay, we're really struggling for front row forwards that are cheap that I can rely on. Mighty Tapel. I guess Corey Horsburgh makes his way back in here. Someone said Spencer Lenu in the chat. That's, where is he? Who said that? Aussie player said Hunt and Lenu front row forward. How much is Lenu? I haven't even seen him yet. 394k. Last year, what did he start at? Because I'm just trying to see, guys, like, have their roles massively changed? I mean, with Terrell May going, maybe there is some more minutes for Spencer Lenu. Yeah, he started at 332k, and he did eventually make his way up to 400k, but he was always it was a bit underwhelming. I think he's more expensive than last year's starting price. I think I will probably pass to start off with. I guess there's a few guys like Tom Gilbert, I imagine, is probably in second row, but he's coming back from injury. Flegler as well, 462k for Flegler. That was actually the price that Flegler, that was around what he started at last year. Yeah, he started at 475k and he looked promising, 76, 51, 80, then 29, but then he got that injury, of course. Could be an option actually as well. I'm actually thinking what I might do, I'll scrap IPAP. Let's put in, I'm going to put Tino. Actually, you know what? I'll keep Tino in front row. Let's do that for now. I had IPAP. I'm just going to see, is anyone a little bit cheaper? A lot of those front rows didn't look like they were presenting much value. So I think I might just have to free up a little bit more money in second row potentially. Liam Henry, oh my God, we must bow down to Liam Henry. 2024 God, absolute God cash cow last year. Liam Henry, my hero. Yeah, okay. Even second row is not very inspiring, to be honest, in terms of options to fill in. You know what? That guy before someone before said Horse. I'm just going to stick in Corey Horsburgh just for price. Now for White, I don't mind that. Yeah, because with more minutes available with the Roosters pack, he's dual 367k. I'm just going to put him in second row for the time being, just because I think front row might just have to stick in like a real... Also, I should stop saying stick in. Just going to have to put in a some cheapie. Sam Hughes, what are you priced at? 355k feels a bit grim. Not one to start with, but Pole, watch on minutes. Yeah, I've always liked Pole as an option. It seems pretty good when he gets minutes. No, Hop got him on. Oh, what is Hopgood priced at? 657k. It feels about value. Nothing wrong with that price. Just feels like you're not probably getting much value out of him. Josh Kerr, 250k. Is Josh Kerr 250k? Because that might solve the problem. Okay, he's not second row. Josh Kerr. No, he's 385k. Oh, you've played me. You've played me, Jay. I thought I had a bargain there. Not quite. No, I'm joking. Anyway, yeah, too many Tigers. I know. I've got in all the Tigers players. It is what it is, isn't it? So we're filling in 4 spots for 1.3 mil. I think we can manage here. We'll manage here. Let's see if I stick in... Let's just stick in Max Plath because people are talking him up. So I've got 3 players for 715k. I think we can make this work. All right, we're going to have to go all the way to the bottom. And obviously, as the preseason goes, guys, we'll refine our cheapies and all that kind of stuff because at the moment, it's very, very early on. Sua Wong, Jack Birdley, and Martin. Is Sua Wong going to get minutes, I guess? It's 318k. Holy dooly. I mean, he was in the 400s last year, and people were really, really talking him up. Max Plotter Plath, absolutely. Schuster, oh my God. Josh Schuster, 265k. Can we do it? Absolute troll. Ever since 2021, he's just been luring us in and has not been doing the business. 61 average in 2021, then 2022, 23, 45 in 2023, and then 2024, nothing. Nothing in 2024. Oh, God. What role is he going to get? Who knows? Whatever. Let's just put him in. Whatever. He's 265k. He's cheap. Let's just put him in there. Jess Colquhoun. I remember actually going him. I don't think it was last year, the year before. No, if he gets minutes, I'll take it. He's kind of he would be ideal in terms of being a dual cheapie. Schuster's a flop. Schuster's a speculator. He is definitely a speculator. Remains to be seen on the flop, but we can probably agree that the hype has not been met. We can at least say that. Shaq Mitchell. I'm just looking for any other cheap kind of front rollers. It's not Colin Hess. Maybe Colin Hess. I don't know, guys. I don't know. He's fat. A lot of Schuster hate going on here. We can't have that. All right. Let's not overthink it. Old mate before said Jesse Colquhoun. Let's just put him in there. Do we have any cheapies for 218k? Let's see. Robert Derby, maybe you. Hayes Dunster if he gets back. Cody Ramsey getting back into that Dragons team. It's good to see him. I saw some pictures actually of him back in training. That'd be nice to see him back just because shout out to the Whisperer, the Ramsey resurgence. Where can I buy Jasper Boomerang? Oh, mate, there's no way. 217k, mate. Boomerang's a $1 million player. What a legend. He's so good. Not a lot of options here. Let's just put in like Robert Derby for the time being, just to make the money work. Save team. All right. We have, for the time being, made an and initial squad, guys. We've done it. We've made a team. So this is how the team looks. I actually don't mind some of the structural stuff I actually don't hate. Obviously, a lot of positions and players that I don't really have like a lot of confidence in, and we've had to stick in some cheapies and whatnot. But if I look at it at face value, like I think if you sacrifice money in the hooker spot, which I've done here, I've gone Mamazellus and Sanders Smith, which could be a risk, but I've got both Watson and Plath. You could take out one of these two, put one of them up there, and then instead get a cheaper second row forward. So at least then you've got the dual second row forward hookers. So I don't hate that. Not going too expensive at second row, but getting in a couple of decent value players. I think the front row has probably spent a little bit more money than I would have expected with Terrell May and Tino, but those prices do look pretty good. So I'd be pretty happy with those. A lot of the second row is a little bit dicey. Like we've got three guys who are in the mid 300s, Schuster, who bloody knows, but like halves, Cleary Hines is awesome. If Cleary went down to say like a Mitch Moses, for example, you free up 200k, all of a sudden then one of these guys can go up to like an IPAP, for example, in second row, or you can get a better dummy half in, or you can get Munster in at 5'8" if you really wanted. Centre wing, again, we're probably I reckon Jack Bird playing 13 is very tempting. Ty Munro's at a pretty decent price. Again, what did I say before? If you put, if you went Cleary down to say Moses, then Ty Munro can become Campbell Graham. Campbell Graham looks really good. So, basically what I'm saying is that there's a bazillion ways that you can tinker with this, but at least we've set up a team that I'm happy with in terms of it's got Cleary Hines. Luai looks like a decent value for 5'8". Metcalf also looks fine. I like the fact that we've got at least one gun centre wing. We've got Carraz, who I'm pretty confident in, and that, gets good base stats and whatnot. Two gun fullbacks, Turbo Ponga. So no stretch is saying, surely put a gun in flex and a cheapy fullback on the bench. Yeah, you could. So the only issue is that in terms of cheapies, Iongi looks to be one of the better ones, and he's only listed at fullback. That's the reason why at the moment I've got just him as my flex position. I kind of know what you're saying. It sounds like what you're saying is you could even put like Ponga there, and then put Iongi in as one of the other fullback spots. But we'll tinker with the flex position. But yeah, it does seem to be that the fullback is going to be the spot where people are going to use for their flex position. All right, that's my initial team. I'm not going to really probably go any more than that. We've just wanted to have a bit of a play around and check in with everyone, see how they're all going. How about a high ceiling roller coaster for flex? Yeah, I'm sure if I wanted to go, I think someone else was saying it. Let's say if I did this, let's just play with this. If I put Plath in at hooker, if I put Sanders Smith at halfback, let's just take out Iongi. How much money have I got? 1 mil. And let's just make him a fullback. Let's put in Drinkwater. You could do that. This could be one option you do. So you're sacrificing Cleary. And then you're probably sacrificing one other position. But, second row obviously then looks pretty... Second row looks pretty bad at that point. Maybe what if I put Tino in here? Where is he? Tino. 277k for a front rower. Yeah, okay. This is obviously getting dicey. You then might have to sacrifice Carraz. But even if I didn't put Drinkwater, if I put in a bit of a pod like a Reece Walsh, for example, just chuck him in there. 309k for a starting front rower doesn't feel the best, but hey, we've done worse things in the past. Let's assume Braden Hamlin-Uele has a breakout year. I have no idea. You could do something like that. That's, Tino does miss round one, but I guess it's only for 1 week, and he's in a position that you can cover for 1 week at least. But look at this, with this kind of structure, if you sacrifice Cleary, then yeah, you can go triple gun fullback. You can get Turbo Pong and get a Reece Walsh in there. So, that's also an option. I think I'm probably going to lean towards, because cash gen is very important. I think I'll lean towards wanting Iongi if you're starting, getting in someone like Cleary, and then kind of working out from there. What do we do here? We had Tino in. I'm just going to put it back to what I had before, so, and then we'll probably wrap up the stream there. Let's put in Tino. Like, for example, Tino misses round 1. Just put in Royce Hunt for a week, and then you can be fine. Yeah, so I think this is the team that I had left with before. So 2 cheap hookers, okay front rowers to begin with. Might have to get Royce Hunt to cover for a week. Both getting Plath and Watson, Finapuyaki in a few mid-ranges, gun halves, 2 gun fullbacks, a gun centre, mid-ranges in 5'8", I guess, if you can call it that. But yeah, that's the initial team, guys. If you want to copy that, then go for it. But obviously there's going to be so much water under the bridge to cross in terms of players and stuff, but thought we'd do an initial check-in on prices and the flex position and whatnot. So hopefully you all enjoyed that stream. Probably going to wrap it up there. It's getting late, but thanks everyone for tuning in. Great to be back as well. Great to see so many regulars. Do please give the stream a like on the way out if you did enjoy it. Please consider subscribing as well if you are new around here and you want to see more content for SuperCoach 2025. Might be a bit of a break just for the next few weeks. Just we've got Christmas and New Year's coming up. In January, we'll try to get as much as I can out in January, just because February is going to get, especially the second half of February, it's going to get tougher just with wedding stuff and whatnot. But until then, we'll do our best. But thanks everyone for tuning in. See you all in the next one. Cheers.